Good day to our Turkish friends and comrades. First of all, I would like to thank Sol TV YouTube channel for giving us this opportunity. Actually, we think this as an action of solidarity towards Sri Lankan people and their just struggle. So, to be precise and short, I will use written text when necessary to answering you. So, for the first question, how did the country end up in this situation? So I would like to explain it. Initially, we can identify this as a crisis developed over a period of time. The major historical reasons are neoliberal economic policies. We have been following for 45 years since 77, and corruption and nepotism, and capitalist rulers entrapping our country in debts without effective utilization of loans. If we look at the debt crisis within the period of 2010 to 2020, within 10 years of time, foreign debt has been doubled. During the years of 2015 to 2019, within 5 years, foreign debt increased from 23 billion US dollars to 39 billion US dollars, which is an increase of 16 billion US dollars within 5 years. Sri Lanka borrowed mainly from international capital markets prescribed by neoliberal economic gurus. However, within the same period, Sri Lanka's GDP only increased from 79 billion US dollars to 84 billion US dollars. Means only by 5 billion US dollars, but you borrowed 16 billion US dollars within the same 5 years. In 2022, Sri Lanka has to pay 7 billion US dollars as its foreign debt. However, Sri Lanka's foreign currency reserve is only around 1.6 billion was in last March. So, on 12th of April 2022, Sri Lanka declared a suspension of payment of foreign debts. Now it's working with the IMF to restructure its debts. Now, yesterday, the foreign currency reserves of the country is lower than 5 million US dollars. Not to be misunderstood, it's not 5 billion, it's 5 million US dollars. It's zero. So, in addition to above reasons, the recent mismanagement of the crisis, like printing paper money and putting hard currency to keep the dollar rate fixed, also caused to deepen the crisis. Lack of foreign currency is the reason for limiting importation by the government. Lack of essential goods such as petrol, diesel, LP gas, medicine, food items, then people compelled to stay in long queues to get the essentials. Prices of the essentials have risen steeply, around 130% inflation. So finally, I would like to finish answering this question. Sri Lanka is a textbook example of how a country in the periphery can be destroyed by neoliberal imperialist economic policies only, without having huge natural disaster, without having a war, without having an invasion. Answering to your second question, how did the people's reaction develop to this level? So I would like to explain that actually the deepening of the economic crisis and the suffering on the people made people demand remedies from the government and from the Rajapakshas. People started protest every nook and corner of the country. We as the JVP, our trade unions, our youth and students, they also organized protest actions, but not only us. The other progressive organizations and people's organizations, they also had a lot of protest actions. Since the 9th of April, actually, thousands of people stay occupying Goldface, blocking the entrance of the presidential secretariat, demanding president to step down. It is now more than 38 days for this protest action. Youth, students and artists wings of JVP also actively participate in this public protest continuously. It is this goal-faced protest has been the main protest site of the thousands of protests happening in the country. And main focus of the current public protests are to oust Rajapakshas. Gotabaya, the current president, and demand arrest of Mahinda Rajapaksa. The Prime Minister recently stepped down, and the other corrupt Rajapakshas appointed to positions thanks to nepotism. And we have to be very clear that what are the demands of the people. Now people are very much demanding mainly political demands. They are demanding Gota go home. President Gotabaya, you must resign. Second, people demands to arrest all the corrupt politicians, and they demand to nationalize looted money and property of them. And they demand abolishing the executive president system, which is a curse and which is a constitutional dictatorship. And people demands no to racism. People demands no to privatization. And people demands no to foreign interventions by USA or by China or by India. So, people of Sri Lanka have given 2/3 majority to the current government, and now they are coming to the realization that Rajapakshas have come to power, rousing and using the racism, religious extremism, only to loot the country and to get the family members and henchmen acquitted from legal actions. So this is how it developed to this level. Answering to your third question, actually you had asked categorically about the events of 9th May. So we think 9th May will be a historical day of the people's history of our country. I will explain it from the beginning. So when protests emerged, every corner of the country, government also took measures to suppress it. They imposed emergency laws. So on 31st of March at night, thousands of people rounded the residence of President, holding placards and chanting slogans demanding President to step down. What he did? This protest was suppressed and protesters were injured and also arrested by the security forces. Against the suppression of this protest, whole country stood up against the regime. Due to the pressure of the people, Cabinet of Ministers had to dissolve it on 4th of April. So, from 4th of April to today, country is in full fighting mode. Social solidarity among the masses is very much increasing. It's really nice to see. It's really nice to experience. On 9th of May, a very important date, the Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, Rajapaksa brother, convened thousands of his goons, thugs and ministers and MPs to his official residence and motivated publicly in front of the cameras to attack on peaceful protesters who has been occupying Goalface. The police and army allowed these goons to attack protesters. Even some senior, very senior police officers escorted the thugs. So when Goalface protesters attacked, it's in the heart of the people actually. People started to increase rage towards the government and these henchmen. People started to gather in thousands and they detained these henchmen and attacked the buses they have come. In several areas, comrades, properties of the government ministers and Rajapakshas attacked. Even thousands of people gathered around Prime Minister's residence, blocking it. On that day, Prime Minister had to step down and resign. After that, Prime Minister and his family had to flee from an Air Force helicopter and still hiding in a Navy camp in a small island in the Indian Ocean. On 9th, Prime Minister and Cabinet had to dissolve again So within 5 weeks, 3 cabinets had to appoint. So government again imposed emergency laws and curfew just to stop people from protesting. But people now, they have not lost the fear to fight back against the government. In the final question, you had asked about JVP's demands. So we see that the economic crisis now turned into a political crisis. Hence, it has become necessary to bring some level of political solution, political stability. So majority of the people are demanding the stepping down of the president as well as his government. But what President and Rajapaksas are doing is playing every tactic keep their power. So currently new Prime Minister has been appointed. He is a firm neo-liberalist. And the strange thing is he has only 1 seat in the parliament. This is strange. This is also a measure taken to manage public rage against Rajapaksas. Now, all the capitalist parties, big business, imperialist and regional powers are uniting to protect the system which is under real threat. So, as JVP, as the main left this party of the country, we think without electing a new people's government, no one will be able to, at least to think to solve this economic crisis. Because first thing, you must need the support of the people. Now people have completely lost their trust on the present president as well as the present parliament. So we as the JVP, we demand that president must resign and general election, allowing people to choose a government they trust. We firmly stand not to participate in any coalition governments with any of the rotten capitalist parties. We also state that mere change in the ruling persons will not give solutions to this crisis. Sri Lanka needs a total change in the economic system. So, we have put some immediate proposals which can safeguard the interests of the people and the sovereignty of the country. So, I will explain few only. So, we demand incumbent President Gotabaya should step down immediately. Then, in the absence of the current Prime Minister, the Speaker should act as the caretaker President. Third, executive presidency system should be abolished. And fourth, you have to create some level of caretaker government within the interim government, within the parliament, so and so. And within a few months, new caretaker government must hold a new parliamentary election. Then people can choose a new government which they trust. And you had asked about National People's Power. Actually, National People's Power, NPP, is a left democratic political people's movement comprised of dozens of progressive organizations, trade unions, farmers unions, women's unions, and individuals, progressive individuals and artists and so on. JVP took initiatives to create NPP as a progressive people's platform to unite other progressive groups and individuals. So it has been giving political awareness to the masses, and NPP organizes masses and make them fight for their rights. Finally, now the capitalist class and its representatives openly exposing their real faces and joining with the Rajapaksa regime. But people are still demanding immediate resignation of the president and arrest the corrupt, murderous politicians. So as JVP, as progressive people of the country, we fight hand in hand with the people while giving leadership to them until the victory for people's demands are met. and we will not compromise. We will not participate in any coalition governments at any cost. So finally, the best thing is overwhelming majority of the people are believing now that they need people's government to overcome the curse created by 74 years of capitalist rule in Sri Lanka. Thank you, Sol TV.